Live.
Here we go.
You still lost it a long time.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Council workshop meeting, Monday, February 5th, 2024, 6 p.m. Bear?
Here.
Briggs?
Here.
Coulter?
Here.
Heidrich?
Here.
Holtmeyer?
Here.
Patke?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Wessels?
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the committee members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the meeting dated January 2nd, 2024? Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye. Need a motion to approve, please.
Make motion. Second.
Motion by Holtmeyer, second by Heidrich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's approved.
Presentations, waste hauling discussions, waste connections.
As the council had requested, I think at a previous meeting, was to go ahead and have a representative of our waste hauler, Waste Connections, to go ahead and be here. Tonight, Ben is here. Ben Vanderhaan is here. Ben, come on up if you don't mind. We're in year, I think, Tony and Ben, help me out, year 3 out of 5?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is that right on our contract? So, our contract, I think, comes up in 25, at the end of that, or sometime around there. Is it May? May of 25? Thank you, Charles. So, we asked Ben, we've had some discussions with Ben on a few issues lately, but he's able to come here tonight. I know you guys as council members had some questions for him, so he's here to answer any, or what he can, right?
Yeah,
Thanks, Ben.
thank you.
All right, I don't know who wants to start, but I'll start off with one. So I've had some residents asking me, Ben, their home, so I don't see my trash get picked up or my recyclables. So they're telling me that their recyclables are going into a regular waste truck, the one that comes around for the regular waste instead of recycling. Is there a reason?
No, I mean, we're running a recycle truck and a trash truck. Very rare occasions that ever happened. I know there was an issue where the guys were trying to help out another guy and, kind of grab some for him, but we run the trash truck, well, actually 2 trash trucks every day, and then the recycle when recycle runs.
Okay.
So, no, we should not be.
Well, this resident's telling me that it's getting picked up by a regular, the waste truck, so the recycle truck.
I mean, there's areas where it might look like, a different truck. It's not the same area. If it's like alley stops or something, we send other trucks up there, where maybe a rear load can only go down those alleys. So there'll be.
This isn't an alley, just a regular wide street in Quail Run, so.
I mean, I could pull the footage and, I could get footage of the service. If that ever happens, let us know. I mean, it should not be happening, no.
Okay. And you guys do have a shop for your trucks, don't you? Or do you take them somewhere to get repaired?
Depending on the repair that's needed, but majority of the repairs are done in-house. We have a full maintenance crew.
Because I'm telling you what, buddy, you guys better buy some seals. I don't know how those trucks are making it back home with as much oil as it on these streets. I mean, every stop. And we have residents that live in Stonecrest, and those are concrete streets, so we really get the complaints weekly. I can show you picture upon picture upon picture of spots. I mean, I'm talking a big basketball-sized spot.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our crew going through them. I mean, they are hydraulic operated. There's gonna be times where there's, a leak that maybe we don't catch right away, and then, but that's where we rely on you guys to let us know, hey, there's a problem here, and, it's on us to get those trucks figured out and, not have that
All right, well, because I've said something a few times about it, and it's not getting any better. I mean, my street is black pavement, and I can see oil just, I mean, it's, and at one time I heard it was cooking oil, possibly spilt or something. It's not cooking oil. It's, and I get it. I work in the trades. I understand how things move all day long. Things are going to leak, but I mean, this is week in and week out. I don't know how, like I say, I don't know how your trucks are making it back to their yard. As much oil is popping out of there.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely bring them in and, you know, I mean, we do inspections, you know, drivers are doing inspections twice a day, and then the maintenance crew, at least once a month is doing what we call a PM on it, preventive maintenance.
Right.
So we can take the trucks in and
Well, they better pull it in and have somebody underneath them, because it's really bad. It's,
Yeah,
like I say, and I can show you pictures after we're done here. I have lots of pictures.
Yeah, I mean, I understand some of your frustration there, and it's something we can work to improve on the equipment, and, you know, we do have trucks on order as well. It's just, you can't get trucks right now.
I get it, and you know, you can't buy brand new all the time, but
Well,
we even have,
we're trying to.
Well-
We had two coming, we're supposed to be here this time last year, you know.
I mean, you guys, when you started our trash business, you guys had brand new shiny trucks
Yeah.
that came out, and everybody's like, yeah. Month later, here comes the beaters. So, I wish those new trucks would have stayed out here on our
Yeah, I
route.
mean, both the trash trucks are the brand new ones. The truck that we originally bought for up here is just too tall for some of the wires, et cetera. You know, it caused a lot of issues if we brought it up here.
We even, I mean, Ben, I mean, there's leaking so much oil that we have one resident that basketball size, Amazon drove through it and then pulled into their driveway. Then it was oil all over their driveway from the tread driving in. So it's not just a,
A little bit, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can do better on that. If you got an area that's really, you know, worse than others, you know, just,
And obviously on a hillside is worse.
yeah. Yeah, anytime, or if they stop and dump the bucket or run the blade, it's, you know, or they're sitting.
But I mean,
for a
you
little
can count it every driveway.
bit. Okay.
Then also, I got the same deal, not so much the oil, but got a guy that's got a long driveway, and, you know, and he's getting recycle and trash, and, you know, I'm sorry, but a lot of these old people, they worry about their mailbox and their trash can a lot. But this guy's got trash and recycling, and just one truck's coming to pick up his stuff too. Now, granted, it's a long driveway and all that stuff, and they're just tossing his stuff into a trash truck as well. But he's not that concerned about it, neither am I. I mean, I wouldn't want to run two trucks down there for, you know, 2 pounds of plastic. That's one thing. He's keeping an eye on it. He's not that concerned. However, the only a lot of complaints that I get would be that, you know, if your trash is not in a trash can, and you got a trash bag right next to it or something like that, or maybe an oversized cardboard box on a TV, or I experienced that one too. It won't fit in my recycle bin. And then, you know, so 2 weeks go by until I could fold it up enough to get it in a recycle bin. But, you know, it's kind of obvious that I leaned it against the recycle bin because it's where I want it to go. And neither one of them took it, the trash man or the recycle guy. And I know it's no big deal, but, you know, it's just the kind of stuff that I get. And I know you're doing the best you can, but that's the kind of stuff we're hearing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I can address that, and kind of we talked, me and Darren and the team talked about this. You know, we all went through a pandemic together, right?
Sure.
It's changed the way we operate, right? It's changed the whole structure of the business. You know, Amazon is doing very well, I tell you. So we are seeing more boxes now than what we've ever seen. And you guys are every other or twice a month recycling service. It's not enough. You know, I'll be honest, it's not enough. You know, the contract is cart content only. You know, if you go out and look in town, you know, just today there was close to 80 cans that were plumb over full. recycling sticking sky high. You know, these guys are taking it, but, you know, the second you move that can, when it's piled that high, stuff's going everywhere.
Yeah, and I know you guys gotta stop and lift, you know, where you can without wires and stuff, and I see that, I know that. And, you know, the drivers are more than courteous. I've seen them back in some alleys, you know, like that back in, and then residents aren't figuring it out to where, you know, we'd like to have all these recycled cans on one side of the street. Makes good sense to me. And so they come to me like, hey, man, the guy won't pick up my trash. It's on the wrong side. Well, he's got to roll it over. You know, it's common sense. Scoot everything to one side of the street so the guy doesn't have to work off both sides of the street. I understand. But when he does dump, you know, stuff doesn't always go in the truck. And I take care of it, you know what I mean? It's no big deal. I don't expect him to get out because a gum wrapper hit the floor. But, you know, it's common sense. But some people just aren't getting it, you know. And another thing is, and Tony and I have talked about it before, not supposed to be in trash bags and recycle, you know, bins. But I see it all the time. And I don't know how we can do any better other than informing these guys to, you know, I don't know what we can do. Maybe we ought to have stickers or something to put on the recycle bin as well. I don't know.
It's on there.
It is on
The
there. yeah.
Yeah,
recycle
it's-
bins that are provided say no
I mean,
bags.
it's a struggle, because, you know, there's a matter of time when you get, your recycling is considered contaminated and nobody will take it,
Right?
you know, as recycled. Then we have no option but, you know.
To trash it.
It's gotta go get trashed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something we try to inform people, especially if it's excessive. You know, there's people out there that are just using it as a second trash can.
I know.
So we try to, if it's just somebody that, hey, maybe they have just, you know, they bagged it up. I mean, once it's in a trash bag, we don't know what's in there.
No.
You know, and the recycle center is not gonna sort, you know, that bag is all trash.
So what do your drivers do when they see that? Do they go ahead and, you know, mark it to where somebody can come talk to the people?
Most of the time, I mean, it's too late by the time they see it. I mean, it might be down in the can if they pull up and it's, hey, you can tell that it's you know, contaminated. You know, but the problem is if they leave it, you know, now somebody's calling and they're upset and they're angry, and we try to inform them, they don't care.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't want to overwhelm anybody with,
No.
you know, hey, here's a list of all the residents. I mean, I could give you a mile-long list, and City Hall's not going to be very appreciative of
No.
all these residents that we refuse. So I know Tony's working on doing some more flyers, just trying to educate. But we need to get to that point where we, you know, stop servicing people that are, you know, not following the program.
Is there a camera on when he dumps it in there where he can see that it's a trash bag, this, that, and whatever, or not?
I mean, it's right there in front of, you know, especially in the commercial or the recycle truck, it's right there in front of him. But I don't want my guys going digging through. You don't know what's in there, right? Is there needles? I mean, we had a guy get stuck by a needle not too long ago. You know, that shouldn't be in the recycling, but there it is.
Right.
You know, so, you know, once it's in the truck, it's too late. I mean, we can get a list and kind of work with you guys on.
Yeah,
you
keep
know,
red flagging them so that,
You know, and usually we've tried the 3-strike rule. It will give you, you know, but it takes a lot to keep track of that.
I know.
You know, or you start pulling people's cans, now they're upset, or somebody new moves in, now we've just doubled our, you know, the work we're having to put into it.
Right.
What I found out is well, I learned firsthand shortly after Christmas, I had it, trash day and recycle day, both there. The recycle had been picked up. I had a box that I put, boxes broke down, put it inside of a box, sitting there on the curb with everything else. The guys picked up the trash, left the box sit. I happened to be home. I walked down like, hey, why don't you take this? Like, we can't take that box of cardboard because that's recyclable materials outside of your can. So I'm like, well, just throw it in the trash. We can't throw it in the trash. The camera on the truck is watching us. And if we throw the recyclables in the trash, then they're not doing their job. And it opened my eyes to the fact that, I mean, it's raining outside, it's cold, there's 3 guys throwing trash, and the guy stopped and explained it to me that if you have a box of broke down boxes sitting on your curb, what are they supposed to do with it? And I thought it's simple, throw it in the trash, but in your world, you're not allowed to do that because of our contract. It needs to be in a recycle bin.
So how do we change the contract? Because I'm with you. It's pretty simple to me if it's sitting there, and that's
Right.
number one.
But I
Same
wanted to
thing
give the
that Dwayne's
workers the
saying.
benefit of the doubt, because they are sitting
Absolutely.
there saying, the camera's watching me right now, and
But
if
the
I throw this in a truck, I get rolled up.
But the question I get is, can we change that? Even the people that understand, can we change that so we are able to? If you got one guy operating the recycle truck, which I think it is when I see it go through, he's basically grabbing the bin and throwing it in. If there's something sitting on top, it's gonna end up on the ground. That's what's gonna happen. Trash guy comes later, can he pick it up? In my case, trash guy comes first. So now it's gonna sit there. So, if they see it and it's not inside the bin, can they take it? Can we make that change to where they can, so it's not sitting there or blowing around the streets? Because it doesn't do any good for it to just sit there. And then the second thing that I hear quite a bit is the care that's taken with the can after it's empty, just kind of tossing it wherever, and people come home and it's in the middle of their driveway, they gotta stop in the street, go pick up their can so they can even pull into their driveway in the first place. It'd be nice if it was set back down, and, I understand they got a lot to do and they gotta keep moving, but just tossing a lid in a can wherever it can go, which I see quite a bit, it'd be nice if that was addressed as well.
Well, and to follow that out, almost like what Jeff was saying, right after Christmas, my wife took all the wrapping paper and put it in one big cardboard box, taped it. I wrote trash all over it. It wasn't recyclables that day, it was just trash. I had it out there and they didn't pick it up. They wouldn't pick it up. Is it because it wasn't in a can? Because all I do is put bags out and they pick the bags up, throw
It'll be in
them.
a can or a bag.
So,
Your,
yeah.
your contract is, when it comes to trash, it's either in a can or it's in a bag. There's not, some people load boxes full of stuff, then it rains and, or they're using a trash, a cardboard box as another trash can. Well, our guys go to pick it up, now bottom blows out, so it's in a can or in a bag, that's what the contract states. And then, ideally, we would get to the point where it's going in the recycling, but we're only gonna take the toter. It's cart content only for recycling.
Now, is there, obviously, I'm just asking, is there any kind of time frame that your drivers have at each, that they gotta keep rolling? Because I can come home every Monday, my trash comes on Monday. I can come home every Monday and walk my dogs after I get home from work, and I can pick up almost a 5-gallon bucket of trash in my neighborhood after trash day.
Yeah, no, there's no, we don't push them, you gotta get done so quick, no, there's
So
no.
is there anything we can address, like if when they dumped it and they see some stuff flying around, hey, just jump out and,
Yeah, then those guys should be doing that. If they're not, that's, let me know where it is and we'll do training with them, to figure out why, on windy days, it is, I'll tell you, it's extremely hard. Just the
and
way
I
those
understand that,
trucks
and it
are.
hasn't been windy
But,
days when it's
but
going
yeah,
on.
if something falls out, now I'm not gonna say they're gonna see everything, but they should
Right.
be every time that bucket gets dumped, they should be looking, and
Mm-hmm.
if something's falling out, they should be grabbing it, absolutely.
Man, I got one question, really. The rest of them, like Mr. Reed mentioned here, I find the staff in our area very, very friendly, very cooperative, very nice and so forth. I've talked with, he still won't let me drive the truck, but he's a nice guy. Okay, But,
At least he's doing something right.
and I think your cameras are a good idea, because when I get a call, and I've checked with you guys before, and you've got on camera what actually happened, and I'll call the person back and says, they got a picture of that. Well, then it's a different story, about what happened. But we did have an issue. One time, I know the city got around to us. The other time, we never heard anything, where it was bad weather. I don't know, if it was a truck broken or something. There wasn't anything picked up. And so nobody came on that given day. And again, it's happened twice in the last year or so. I say one time we got word from the city call went around and notified us.
The code red.
Well, yeah. But the other time, there was nothing. I was just wondering what the procedure is. If you can't make it or something's happened, be it weather, be it equipment, do you I guess you notify somebody.
Yeah, we would notify the city. Really, the exceptions would be if we have a breakdown, especially towards the end of the day. But usually if, I mean, you know, if it breaks down at the beginning of the day, like today, we had a breakdown first thing this morning, so we sent another truck up there just to help make sure everything gets picked up.
This one, yeah.
But if it's weather related, you know, safety is our number one concern, so we're gonna, you know, that last, what was it, 2 Mondays ago, where that ice storm came through, there's no way we're putting a truck out there.
Right.
So we are kind of quick to call that. But yeah, we would or notify the city, and then we usually try to catch up to help you guys, you know, so you're not carrying it all the way to the weekend. You know, very rare occasion, if we have a breakdown at the end of the day and there's a section sitting, we would kind of notify at the end of the day. But I don't know, I can't remember a time in the recent future where that's happened.
That's the complaints that I've had. I've had people call me and say their trash was not physically not picked up. Sometimes it's just 1 or 2 houses and their trash was never picked up. It's like they were skipped. Their trash was out the night before. It wasn't because of weather. They just skipped them. That's the complaints that I've had.
Okay, I mean, if you have those, if you let me know, let us know, just so you guys know, we did add when we first started with you guys, we had our customer service center out of St. Louis. We now have it in our facility. We just added another customer service rep. So we actually have 2 who are there all day just to help answer phone calls. So yeah, if you ever get that, I mean, we're investigating. We'll pull up the cameras, see, you know, is there a reason why it was missed? You know, we do gotta get better at the drivers communicating if they leave something for a reason, you know, making sure we know. I know we've had a run of, you know, overloaded or overweight cans. You know, there's a 50-pound weight limit on the cans, which we've gone through a lot of those where we've left stuff and people maybe don't, you know, we gotta get better at communicating with them why it was left. It's kind of hard with the individual cans because there's, you know, we don't want to stick a sticker on their personal can, but we can find some better ways to communicate that with them. But yeah, if that ever happens, just let us know and we'll investigate. And you know, if you know, I'm not saying they're perfect. There are times where a guy pulls up to stop and, you know, gets a phone call and then takes off and forgets to pick it up. I've seen it happen, but you know, we're usually back that day or first thing the next day.
Ben, what's the number that our citizens can call if they do have questions or?
It's the number that's on the flyer. You know, I think Tony's got the recycle flyer. That's our direct customer service number.
Okay.
So the customers are,
Oh, absolutely. They can call right to that number.
okay.
Yeah, and that's where we direct most of them. I mean, yeah, if they called you, I mean, tell them call Waste Connections first. And we've had a lot of them where they're like, you know, they get reported to the city where, hey, this customer says they're calling. We have notes of everything. And we'll, you know, they're noting that if it's yeah, there it is. The 573-678-2492 is that number. And we can make sure. I mean, Tony's got a nice flyer for the recycle here. You know, if you guys can help get the word out and call us if there's a problem.
We plan on putting some more stuff on social media. I figured it would after this meeting, so.
Can you go to the podium, please?
I might have missed this, wait, I gotta state my name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Mariachi, Windcrest. Are you aware of the oil problem?
I know some with the trucks.
I wouldn't waste my time coming down there because I challenge you to go look. It'll blow your mind. Looks terrible. We got a nice city. I mean, it looks terrible, you know. Now, people, has anybody had any complaints? I don't think it shows up on Blacktop, but it does on.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right. It was so bad today. It was like, it blew my mind, you know. I guess I work for a company, I ain't gonna say their name, but you just can't do that. You know, you got a problem with that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we'll
I hope it doesn't get put under the rug, because I think, but were you aware of this?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some issues and we believe we had them addressed and we'll continue to try to address those.
Well, anybody can go look, I don't wanna think we're complaining down there, but it looks bad.
I think it might, hopefully, it's a segregated situation, you know, a place. I mean, my street's concrete. I don't have an issue on my street. I mean, that's not saying that you don't at Stonecrest. That's true in statement. So maybe it is a one truck that goes to the same place each time might be the issue. So, yeah.
So, my name is Mike Stapp. My complaint is not picking up, and I understand that the recycling truck has the arm and they don't want to get too close to cars and they don't want to get out of the truck. But for example, this day, you can see my neighbor's can is on his property behind my car. Mine is in front of the car, in between mine and my son's car. They left it. Now, it was out 2 days before because you come a day late, but that's the only place I have to put my recycle and trash. They pick the trash up because they pick it up by hand. Why is it that they have to use the arm? There's places like this where there is no place else to put the trash can. You know, not every person in town has a perfect, frontage to put things out where they don't have to park. I have to park there. And I work from home at least 2 days a week. So depending on what day you come, if they come the right day, I wasn't there. But came the next day, and of course, I'm here. So there's a lot of old people like myself who have trouble getting it out there in the first place and have limited places to put it. And to me, I know you want to save time and use that arm every time and just leave it if it's not where you can use it, but that's not realistic.
I mean, and that's how we do it in every other town. I mean, we figure out ways. I mean, can you put it out closer to the street so that car's not in there?
If I put it past the car, it's out in the middle of the street. Now, I had the city call, and they asked you guys to call me, which they never did.
Okay.
And they told me to put it out in the street, so I did. The truck never came back.
Okay.
So luckily, Tony from the city came by and took the trash himself, or the recycling himself, which I greatly appreciate. It's going, as most things with the city employees go above and beyond. I'm paying for a service that I expect to be done.
Yeah, I mean, we need 3 feet around that toter where we can access it with the arm. And then, I mean, if he tries to grab it there and hits your car.
I understand that.
And
So I don't expect him to grab it. I expect him to get out and move it out there and put it back.
I mean, he should be able to grab it from inside the truck.
But there's not enough room there to do that.
But if we moved it towards the street, away from the car, there would be.
It'll be in the street. And the police department's gonna be throwing a fit because the trash can's out in the street.
The day you're in question there, I mean, I don't want them getting that close to the car, period, just because of the ice and, so they are gonna stay further away when they see the icy conditions.
And I understand that part too.
Is there other days that's been happening, or is that the only?
Anytime I'm home, and this day happens to have this car here, if I put it in front of the trash, in front of the mailbox, which isn't really on my property, it's in front of my neighbor's property. But if I put it in front of there, they'll pick it up and throw them right back out in front of the mailbox, and then I don't get my mail, which is an important thing for us.
Yeah, I mean, there's not, not every situation is ideal, and the guys do try to do their best to service it, but we do want them in the truck, that's the purpose of those trucks. If he's gotta get out every stop, we might as well go back to, picking up in a room.
And I don't think you'd have to get out every stop, but as you mentioned earlier, the tall truck
Yeah.
wouldn't work on the city streets of Washington. Maybe your arm won't work on the city streets of Washington. It won't work in every place, and I guarantee you, I'm not the only cul-de-sac in town that has this problem.
Yeah,
I'm just the only one that's,
We're just, and sometimes we leave it to say, hey, give us a call, let's talk about a different placement. Work through it.
and I was home, if they'd have just honked their horn or something, I'd have come out
Yeah,
and
I
moved
mean,
it out for them.
They don't have, like, we can't stop and honk at every
And,
home.
and I understand that, but I'm not the only place that this is a problem, and it's a service I pay for. Now, I'm paying them for it, and they're paying you, but when the city picked up trash, I never had a problem. When the city picked up recycling, we never had a problem. You know, city employees go above and beyond in every fashion, you know, every time. I'll tell you, Darren, I have seen him do things that nobody else would do. You know,
Not referring to me.
not referring to Darren Lang,
The other Darren.
but he's not the only city employee either that worked on the trash truck. Did a fantastic job. But I'm just asking why, in some of these instances where people have this problem, they cannot get out of the truck and just move it out and move it back.
Because you would open up a door that would be way too large. Because you let them do it once, if we do it for you, we're doing it for everybody.
So basically what you're telling me is, I will not get service, and here,
If it's like that we'd need it moved over away from the cars. If it's moved over 2 foot,
and
you
then,
can get it.
and if I move it over 2 foot, how am I gonna get my car out?
Move it over, then you can back your
So
car up.
move it, get out, move it back, you know, I'll tell you the same thing. I can put it in my driveway, but obviously this is out in the street. Put it in the driveway and the wife is not gonna be happy if she has to get out, and move it, to back out, and then put it back in the driveway before she leaves. She's not gonna get out of the car. Your wife wouldn't do that, I guarantee you. But that's what you're saying basically, is that I'm not gonna get service from the city for something I'm paying for, which makes me very unhappy.
If it's within 3 feet of a car, we can't service it.
If it's with your arm. But you could easily get out and move it over and move it back.
But it's still, you know, the contract is, it needs to be within, 3 feet away from that vehicle for us to safely service it.
So is the city gonna tell everybody in town that they can set their trash cans out in the middle of the street? Is that what you want? Because that's basically what you're telling me, standing here tonight, is put the trash cans out in the street. And then the police department's gonna go nuts, driving around trying to handle all these complaints about the trash cans in the street. I'm just telling you, based on experience, you know I have that experience.
Well, unfortunately, Mike, I think what we've done in 2-3 years ago when we did it, we contracted with them that they're gonna pick up recycling with an arm truck. If we could change that and we did recycling every single week and we did recycling with a rear-loaded truck, then we would have our recycle and our trash rates go up exponentially, and I think Ben could probably take care of it then. So that's the issue. And if it's just Mike Stapp or if it's 25 places in town, we have to make a judgment on where it's worth it or not.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So
what you're saying.
it can be done, and I think Ben's saying with an arm, that's on our contract. That's what we agreed to them to do. They send one guy in a truck with an arm to pick up 1,000 trash cans in a day. He can't get out and move that. Your wife is unhappy when she has to get out and move the can. Ben's unhappy that his driver gets out and moves the can because it's not efficient. That's the way it is. So I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that the city of Washington is going to tell you no way, but I think we have to come to the conclusion that we agreed on a contract, and that's why it's the price that it is. Now you can sit up here in front of the rest of the citizens of Washington and say, let's raise your trash rates even more so we can hire someone else to come out and hand pick up everything. I mean, that's where we stand. I mean, that's what the value is or what the value's not.
And I'm
So-
going to tell you that I'm not against paying more for the trash, but I guarantee you the rest of the people are. I understand.
Right.
But I'm paying for a service, and I think Al may have said it, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's time to make an adjustment in the contract.
Then that's something we need to
I
discuss.
also would say, because I know Union's going through this right now, there are other trash companies that are willing to do that service. And apparently for less money, because their bids over there did not show them as the cheapest. They may be the best, as we all know, get what you pay for. But there are other trash companies that could do this service.
Well, we're entitled to that when it comes to contract time. There's no
And-
doubt. And then we'll discuss that. Yeah,
And
no
that
doubt.
might be the city taking it back over, might be better yet. But
I mean, Ben,
Then I
is there
challenge you with finding us
anything
workers
that,
to do that.
Ben,
Yeah, I would
is there
challenge you.
anything we can do, I mean, on these tight, I mean, because that is a tight cul-de-sac there. I mean, is there anything we could possibly come up with, a smaller truck of some sort or this or that for recycling? I'm just asking. I mean, is there anything that we could possibly do for these tighter cul-de-sacs? I mean, when you sign this contract, and like you say, Jeff, we signed it for an arm, but did we go around to every cul-de-sac to make sure the arm would work? Did we do that when we were figuring this up? I don't know. So, I mean, for my situation, these tight cul-de-sacs,
Where you're not getting picked up.
I'd say about 4.
Maybe you could look at that, Ben, look at his cul-de-sac at some point, you know, overview, you got a map of all that, and just take a look at it and see,
Yeah, if
hey,
you
maybe
guys
there's
can-
something we could do different here.
phone numbers.
Yeah, or, I mean, just looking at the picture, if you move it over 2 foot, we can service it.
And you know, if I do that, which your truck already has trouble turning.
Maybe if you physically look at it,
He
maybe,
has to make 3 or 4 adjustments to get out. If I move this trash can out here, he's really gonna have trouble getting turned around, because he has to back up almost into my car to make the
I mean,
turn. One of these days, he's
cul-de-sacs
probably gonna
are
hit
not
it.
ideal. I mean,
Yeah.
No.
There's no good way around them when you have cul-de-sac and you get people parked there, you know, and, I mean, you guys are building more and more homes where their lots are getting smaller and smaller, right? So
Yeah.
It's gonna be constant, you know, we got a battle as far as where people are parking, and you gotta get creative on it.
And like I said, this is my neighbor's can. I'm not sure, it was actually sitting on top of the curb, so it's not down on the flat part of the curb. And it's hard to tell. I don't know that they couldn't get it with the arm, or if they just left it because it's on
Yeah, I
top
mean,
of the curb.
I would have to look at that, you know, but I mean, if we can get it a little bit further away from the car, just so we can get that, you know, and these guys are good at what they do. You ever watch them, I mean, they're close to things all day long. But if it's that close, they're not gonna risk it.
I'm just asking, Ben, if you can physically maybe meet with Mike,
Yeah, I'll get your address and
appreciate it.
yeah.
Appreciate you showing up tonight.
Yeah, thank you. It's not easy, is it?
Nowhere else I'd rather be.
Right, right.
But one thing
You ought to get into,
I did want to say, just as I'm here, just, you know, and me and Darren kind of talked about it, but, you know, I do think it's something you guys need to look at is increasing the amount of recycling. 'Cause, you know, if we were doing an every week recycling, you would, you know, eliminate a lot of these issues with extra boxes, you know, because you're basically, and there's sometimes, depending on where that schedule goes, you guys are almost going 3 weeks.
I know that's one of our biggest complaints, you know.
Do you,
And,
have you, or can you easily work up what that cost would be for us?
I could, yeah, if that's something you guys.
We've talked about it.
Are interested. I mean, I threw a number out to Darren. I'm not throwing it out today.
That's fine.
You
Do
know,
some homework.
We'd have to do some, you know, pro forma, just some math, just to say, hey, this is what it would cost. But I think it would solve a lot of the city's problems with recycling, you know, and our guys are even saying, why don't we do this every week? You know, not saying that we're gonna do it just because they want to. There's a cost to that, but I think it would eliminate a lot of the problems, giving people more room for it. You know, and we do offer a second can, you know, pretty reasonable price that somebody could call us up and they pay us directly. But that's a service that we offer too, that I don't think is put out there as much. Because like I said, just on today's route, I mean, we're close to 80 homes that are just mounted up with recycling. You know, wind blows, that stuff's going everywhere. You know, we're gonna be blamed for it, I know that. But it's also not fair to those guys, because the second they touch that can, recycling's going everywhere.
And we discussed
All the
this
loose-
a number of
loose
years ago, when we discussed this whole transition, that it was a guess on what is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, we didn't know. You had the curbside that we had, that we sorted it by the curb.
Right.
We did not take in cardboard.
Right.
You just had cans, you had
Plastic.
plastic
glass.
bottles. Yeah, and so we I don't want to put a number, but I know that we didn't have near as many people consider recycling at the time, because as a result of this, it became very easy. Yeah, it was a lot smaller tote, too.
We've been babied too long.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something else to think about, is you guys used to have the little bin, you know, now we're having, you know, this big thing, plus we're all producing a whole lot more cardboard.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
The cardboard is the
There
issue.
is a lot more cardboard.
Right.
So we're all for it. I mean, we want to be a partner with you guys, you know, and that's why I'm here today, just to show you, you know, we appreciate you, and, you know, we're in this with, you know, we want to be a partner with you guys, not just, you know, we're on this side, we're in it with you guys, so.
Good to see you here tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to say too, Ben, if you could look into, again, in the tighter cul-de-sacs, if you could look into something, and again, if you can look at, like I say, about the recycling going into the regular trash.
Yeah, and that should not be happening, you know, and if anybody does see that, you know, let us know right away, because those guys should not be doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
I have one more question. Molly Maniaci. So today was exceptional in Stonecrest with all the oil spots. Here is one of them. And you said that you maintenance your trucks twice a day? You check them out twice a day?
The drivers check them out, pre and
Okay.
post trip.
So what do they do when they see oil spots like this? It doesn't have to
They
sit there
probably
very
wouldn't
long.
see that during a pre-trip, that would be more of on the maintenance end, where they're actually getting under a truck and.
Okay,
and
so when they're in the division, in the subdivision, and they're getting out and they're moving about and they're coming back down the road and they see this, it's very hard to miss. Do they come back? Do they bring the trucks back and get a different one? I'm just wondering how this continues. If you're checking them
Yeah.
twice a day.
No, I mean, they're checking and doing a pre and post trip, so they're just looking, making sure the truck's properly operating. They wouldn't necessarily see that it's leaking, but that would be our maintenance, or if they see that hey, this truck's leaking, you know.
Ben, I think what, I'm not trying to talk far, but I think what Molly's trying to say is, as they go this way and they're picking trash up, and if they come back down the hill, they have to be seeing these spots that they're leaving at every driveway,
Yeah,
right? Isn't that what you're getting at?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you cannot miss it. Like,
That's,
here's some more. Like, you cannot miss that.
Okay.
And if
Yeah,
they're
no,
missing that, there's another issue there. But if you're doing maintenance twice a day, your drivers have to be seeing this, and they have to be addressing this. This is ruining our streets.
Yeah,
It's
and that's
disgusting.
something we need to get better, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I know Stonecrest has a lot of dogs. They don't want to walk their dogs through that
Okay.
either. Thank you.
Yep, no problem, thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Guys, council, folks in the audience, thanks for your patience in this long, but if you ask me, it's a necessary discussion that we need to have. This is democracy. Everybody gets their voice. And I think it's good. We're trying to do our best up here. I think you all know that. And I think Ben is too. There's room for improvement, so let's continue, and I'll shut up.
Report of department heads, engineering department, Bush Creek Guardrail and Channel Protection Project.
Good evening, council. So this is for BFA, a contract with BFA to do design and permitting through the Corps of Engineers for our guardrail and Bush Creek Channel Protection Project. It's along 8th Street from Elm to Locust Street. So installing new guardrail there, the channel protection, bank stabilization, kind of cleaning up the channel there. We have some maintenance issues, keeping up with the overgrowth and different things down there.
Is the bank stabilization more than just large rock, or is it potentially piers and things like that there?
We're still looking at some of those options. I don't think it'll be as drastic as like piers and that, but I mean, that might be what we need to go with, looking at like the guardrail installation.
How far will the guardrail go? I know it's by the old brewery.
Starting there at Elm, going all the way through Jefferson, all the way to Locust Street.
Oh, the guardrail will?
Yep.
Okay.
Where the old posts were?
Yes, taking out those posts, putting the guardrail, well, or putting the guardrail in anyways. Yeah, and we do have $50,000 in grant money from Franklin County for the guardrail portion of the project,
For the guardrail?
for the install.
Construction.
Yep, construction.
Darren, when do we stop spending all this engineering money, would it be easier for us to hire another engineer to help them out in the department where our engineering department could do this project, but they're so overwhelmed with all their other stuff going on that they can't do this? How long do we wait before we hire somebody in-house to do this?
I think it's, well, put it this way, based upon the number, I mean, this isn't a federal project, but the federal projects that we're always usually successful at getting the funding for, I think we're better off by continuing to go ahead and contract those projects out, because those engineers are used to working with, I mean, we're very good at getting.
You're getting 80/20, right?
Yeah, and you're getting
80/20%
80/20
of those
funds.
contract
So that's a good thing. On the local stuff like this, we do, I guess, as far as the streets,
Put together a parking lot, we did
Yeah.
a trail that we just got out for bid. I mean, those are smaller, they don't take as much time. I would like to do this project in-house, but the way we're set up currently, yeah. But we don't do this type of project every year either, so.
Just a question.
yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's
it's
something to
certainly
look at.
something we've talked about, you know, when do you contract it out, when do you not?
Okay,
So,
thank you. Thanks, Charles.
Yeah.
Other
Any
discussion,
other
you guys?
questions?
Take a motion to send it on to council.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Hydrich. Further? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. B, please.
Fire Department, Fire Station Design and Budget Amendment.
Save it for 7.
Good evening, council. In your packet, there is a letter as well as a whole bundle of paperwork. To summarize.
Slightly.
Yes, slightly.
Good reading.
To summarize, we went for RFQs for design firms for the fire station. We had 9 companies submit, design firms. The committee met, pared it down to 4 possible candidates and decided to interview 2. Those 2 are FGM Architects and Arch Images. Both did a 1-hour presentation for the committee, and at the end, the committee opted to proceed with FGM. When we were doing this, we were expecting a pretty high cost of input or for design services, and when I called the contact, and unfortunately they're not able to be here, they're in Atlanta this evening on a presentation. He told us about 8.5%, and when he did his write-up and did the work, the design services came out of 8.29%, I believe is where it was for the design services. So that's one piece of it. One of the things that we really liked about FGM in the presentation is the phased approach they take up with building a building like this. These are 50-year buildings. To put it in perspective, headquarters, we have been there 30 years and 1 month as of today. The buildings we built are long-term buildings, and so the FGM approach is one, it's a long-duration building. Number 2, we get input from our membership to see what are our true needs and then what are our wants in that order. Once they do that and get all that put together, then they start working on the bid documents. We actually asked for a package deal for them. There's options where you can specify, hey, we're going to take care of, the city will contract separately for testing services of welding or concrete proofing and block walls and such. And rather than us do that, we asked them to do a whole, basically it's a holistic turnkey package. And in the end, their estimated cost of construction right now at $470 per square foot. We're looking at somewhere between a 9,000 and 12,000 square foot building. Their total services, and we also asked them to do the project management for the facility as well. So rather than contract with a third party to do those services as well, we'd have FGM monitor that with their project manager. All told, the services for construction is $94,000. Their initial design is $55,100. All told, with their other engineering companies and such, for all the services with estimates for the testing, and we know we're going to be able to trim some money out of this already. We've been chatting a little bit. We know we have one of the tests already done. So the grand total for the design services is estimated to be $528,590. The total building estimate is coming in at just under $5.3 million at this point in time. It's a big number. City sales tax, capital improvement sales tax is 4 million. Fire Protection District is got contractually with the city for capital, so there's a $500,000 commitment from the Fire Protection District to the city for $500,000, and the balance of it will be made up out of the reserve fund out of the fire department.
Do they have built any other firehouses in the state?
FGM is built extensively. They're doing 2 for the Monarch or Chesterfield Fire Protection District, and they've done numbers of others. They're remodeling police, fire, and EMS stations throughout the area.
Currently building one in New Melly.
New Melly's another one they're doing also, correct.
It's not their first rodeo then.
This is not their first rodeo. One of the things that we put in the RFQ is we wanted companies that had design experience with engineering or building these buildings within the last 5 years. So we didn't want somebody that just wants to dabble in this one and then that's it. We wanted somebody with expertise. And the 2 that we interviewed, primary reason we brought them in is they're local to the St. Louis market. We had companies all the way from Indiana. They were doing fire station design, and they had a very, very impressive resume, but it was in Arizona and Indiana. Yeah, that's the same thing I thought, Joe. And so, so that was one that was a very impressive resume, but we felt we had enough talent here locally. So FGM has done quite a bit of work here locally. And one of the things we did as well is we didn't just take their fancy packet and take it at face value. We started making phone calls to their references. One of the facilities they're working on right now is for Monarch, and that chief in charge of that is one of the most particular chiefs I know, and he gave them a solid A. So there's others that didn't fare out as well, and so that was a very good plus for these guys as well.
Thank you.
Further questions, discussion? Take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bear, second by Patke, to move on to council. Any further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
C, Sherry, please.
Parks Department, Public Works Office renovation and budget amendment.
Evening, council. In your packet tonight, you'll see a project that Darren and I have been working on for Public Works. It's the front office renovation there at their building. If you recall, back in December, you all approved a contract for Egan Design and Build to do this project, be the owner's rep for this project. Project was bid out. We received bids from a number of bidders. Lowest bid was CB Contractors with a base bid of $72,000, and then alternate bid of $6,000 for ceiling, full ceiling tile replacement, and then an alternate bid of $2,500 for casework behind the front desk to eliminate back in the file room a pink-colored desk that would remain if we didn't take it out and do that. And so some of the other renovations that will be done will be painting, tile floor replacement, front door replacement, ceiling tile replacement, HVAC grill replacement, light replacement, ADA fixture replacement, sprinkler head replacement, data cabinet replacement, excuse me, and then some wiring that needs to be redone. And just to remind you, I think we talked about it in the December meeting, this will be the first renovation since that building was built in 1992. And so there will be, the street department budgeted $80,000 out of their fund, or out of their budget, I should say, for this project. And then we would need a budget amendment from the capital improvement sales tax to cover the remaining amount of $61,000. And then the construction management fee was $25,000, so total project would be $141,000. Questions?
Wayne, $20,000, quite a bit of money. You're sure they got everything covered?
This would include everything except, but it is budgeted for within the $141,000. The fire alarm system will be bid out separately, and
There's a workstation.
Well,
the workstation.
I'm talking the difference in the lowest bid compared to the
Oh.
next bid.
Yes, the owner's rep, I'm sorry. The owner's rep did, have talked to the CV, and they have no problem meeting that.
As long as we don't get extras later.
And Wayne, do I read that, okay, originally it was thought to be 80,000, now it's 141?
No, it was originally funded with 80,000 coming from the general revenue. We always knew we were gonna have to supplement it with the capital improvement sales tax, and that's the 61 additional. It's not that we thought that we were gonna get it done for that. Originally, that was an original budget that we did. That number came about probably back when the capital improvement sales tax was voted on back in 2018.
It's another one of those, like Joe mentioned earlier, you know, you get that, you throw that design on top of
Yep.
everything else, all of a sudden it's like staggering.
And we have had some of these projects, but that's not something our engineer, we're not at a point where we're gonna hire an architect
No.
to go ahead and put these things through, especially for these, for some of these other projects that we've done, just like with the fire station that we were just talking about, so.
Further discussion or questions for Wayne?
Move we send it on.
Okay, motion by Wessels,
Second.
second by Bear. Further. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Toolcat purchase.
Also in your packet is a toolcat purchase from my department. This would be to replace our 2016 toolcat machine and bucket, which we use every day. We've been starting to have some problems with it. It's, hours are getting up there. Like I said, it's used on a daily basis. We would trade in our old one, and we work diligently with the company to get the best value. So we got $20,000 on our trade-in for that machine to get the new machine and some new attachments, which would include a new bucket and a pallet forks and a clod buster, which we'll use when we're doing site grading and things like that. And it'll basically grinds up the dirt and kind of spits out the rocks, and then you can take a bucket and haul the rocks off, and you have pure dirt left. So. Excuse me, the bid came in at $72,995.53 for the toolcat and attachments, and that includes a $20,000 trade-in. And this is under the budget amount of $74,000 that we had budgeted for this.
Questions? Discussion.
Make a motion, move it on.
Second.
Motion by Bear, second by Patke to move it on. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. D, please.
Street Department 2-ton dump truck purchase.
Good evening, council. We are recommending a replacement of one of our snowplow dump trucks. It's 15 years old. We did budget $180,000, and our combination bid came in at $169,000. We do have two separate ordinances for this one. We've been noticing in the past that vehicles have been coming in, and then the lead time to get all the snow plows and the hydraulics put on it and the dump beds can usually be 3 or 4 months, and the dealerships are kind of taking a hit on that. So we're going to pay them when the truck shows up, then the truck will go over to the upfitter, and then we'll pay them again when the upfitting is done. So, and we will sell the old one on Purple Wave, probably $26,000 to $30,000.
Discussion, questions? All right, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Patke,
Second.
second by Wessels. Further discussion?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. DA passes. B, please.
And real quick, I do want to give you guys a heads up. We did go out for bid to have our mulch pile ground up this year, and the winning bid came in at $35,750. Last year, we paid $33,500, so relatively close. It was Hanson's Tree Service.
But that'll be a contract you'll be coming in the future with them. That contract, what you're talking about, awarding that will be coming to them in the future, the city council. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
We still
Tony,
need to do.
Tony,
Tony,
Bed.
you said that,
since you separated them, we still need to do another
the
one.
truck bed, snow plow, and salt spreader purchase. That's
It's Woody's Municipal.
3D.
Yes.
We had been using a company in St. Peters for a while, and they came in with a bid this year that we felt a little shocked by. So we went into another company that we've used in the past, and they came in a little over $20,000 cheaper. So,
With the check.
Great.
And Woody's is the same company we're buying our boom mower from also.
Motion to send to council.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Hydrich. Further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Jennifer's got one other department head real quick before we start the council meeting. Jennifer?
Good evening, Council. I'm here tonight to give you a brief update on our dispatch service agreements with Berger and New Haven. First, I'll go with Berger. They no longer have a marshal, and due to the difficulties in finding a replacement, they've decided to hold off for another year in looking for a replacement and revisit the topic later on. So they were wanting to back out of their contract or cancel their contract, which is up at the end of March this year, so they won't be renewing that contract.
Just so you know, and that's $1,700, I think, was the last contract we had.
They're just going to do without.
They're just going to do without for a while.
Yes. It was pretty difficult, and there was a few months in there, maybe actually 6 months, where they were paying for services. They were still paying for their contract, and they had no marshal, so. Next one is with New Haven Police Department. I was notified Friday evening that they no longer have their police department, and they are contracting with Franklin County for coverage for law enforcement. So with that, we will no longer have their contract either, which is up the end of September 2025. So I was in discussion, I was talking today with their mayor and provided him with a copy of the agreement because he didn't have that. So we'll be talking again, I guess, the next couple of days.
If I, just for the council, it's, I know it's over 7,000. You remember how much that was?
Yes, it is for the current year, 7,882. And then there's a 5% increase.
For next year?
24-25 is 8,276.
Yeah. So we had it on a 3-year contract,
Yes.
correct? Yeah. So you know, we'll not, until they notify us in the future if something changes, like I said, they'll be doing their dispatching through Franklin County. So.
And they won't be losing any 911 services. We've notified AT&T that they need to switch their lines, their emergency service numbers over to Franklin County. So for about the next 3 weeks, they'll still come into our PSAP and we'll transfer to Franklin County.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
By Patke, second by Hydrich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5 minutes, folks.
You better hurry up, or you're gonna be standing in line.
I thought I did.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Jim.
I didn't know who that guy was.
I was looking, I was like, what did I miss this morning that people are waiting
Watching to see what they were talking about. Republic.
Oh, yeah, we know, yeah.
See that, Mike? The guy was Mike Notes. He's got a Republic circle on there. So Waste Management was here. That was the guy from Republic Services. Yeah. I didn't know that until he just walked right there. I'm like, I see it on his shirt. I'm like,
I don't know how the default is gonna stay. Yeah, it goes to unknown. To get the default.
But realistically, what we're doing is excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Cadillac first. Okay. Now we have like, hey, 3 steps down.
You better tape, that comes off every day.
I'm gonna take videos 3 times a day.
Or, just take it. Just take it off of there. How often do I ever say anything? How often do I say anything? Finally, your truck's twice.
Hey, are you cool with? Covering that? Yeah. And you want to do this one, or do you just want me to pull it up?
This one,
Let's go. Honestly, John did those for me, so I'll do that. I'll pull that one up. I didn't know what it was about the engineering stuff, so that's fine. Yeah. Not a problem. Hey, how's it going? I'm Fred. Yeah, you too. No, it's
Jeff's boy had 6 3-pointers
almost last
in a row.
No.
right.
It was
I mean,
unbelievable.
it's
I
not a
watched
percentage of that. It's got to be at the end there.
He was on fire, man.
But they're
He,
not going to
he
have
was calling.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I bet he had 6 in a row in practice.
Yeah.
If there's any questions, we can explain.
With a
it.
hand.
That's why I was putting a letter.
That's impressive. Tell you that much. You only have one of them nights.
You had one.
Honestly, and I'm sorry you drove out here for this.
It's really for Tyler.
So,
Can you just stand like right here? Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother sticking around. It's pretty straightforward. No. Pretty easy. Good. Okay, yeah, then I would get out of here. Yeah. I got it downloaded. Yep. Okay, sounds good. You too.
How you doing, Mark? Oh,
Good, Joe. How about you?
Yeah.
okay.
I'm actually surprised.
All good. Weather's nice.
Facing the wrong way.
He didn't have to bring that.
I didn't know if it was facing the wrong way. Yeah. I don't like it when it's green.
I'm waiting for March 1st.
Yes.
Boundary adjustments, you technically need a full.
Downtown Washington Incorporated is a nonprofit focused on promoting an attractive and financially stable downtown while
Here we go. Buddy, ready?
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Monday, February 5th, 2024, 7:10. Bear?
Here.
Briggs?
Here.
Coulter?
Here.
Heidrich?
Here.
Holtmeyer?
Here.
Patke?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Wessels?
Here.
Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated January 16th and January 29th, 2024? Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Holter to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have the liquor license application for Undergrounds Coffee LLC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Briggs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved.
Citizens' comments?
Before we open it up to the floor, you guys, this is wonderful, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. I wish it was this crowded every night. This is democracy. Thank God. So, citizens' comments. Would anyone like to come up and speak? If you will come up, please, state your name and your address.
Name's Louis Klingert, 5411 North Goots Mill Road, Washington, just outside town here. Thank you, council. Appreciate you having this. Just want to introduce myself to some of you that might not know me. Like I said, I grew up just outside of Washington on North Goots Mill Road, close to where Mark Wesley used to live. And went to Washington High School, graduated in '83. Spent most of my adult life working around Washington. I worked for Hart-Bauer Auto Parts on Elm Street over here, and American Auto Supply up on 5th Street, and Rotary Appliance down the other end of 5th Street. And then I worked at Faro Gas for a while. All the while I was doing real estate as well, too. I'm a real estate agent. And went up to New Haven I had a broker's license, and Schilling Agency was retiring up there. Went up to New Haven and started the real estate company up there. Did that for 25 years. While I also opened a appliance store in downtown New Haven. I sell GE appliances, which I still do today. And I still work 3 jobs. I also have an RV park between New Haven and Herman on Highway 100 with a little bar called the Jam Hut there. But that's what I do. And on to the reason I'm here today is you all, City of Washington, being headed up by you all, have hired Mr. Mark Piontek to prosecute me for theft, larceny, and stealing. And he has published that on CaseNet, on the internet, for the whole world to see. And it's pretty much destroying me. And this has come from an event that I bring it to you because in government, sometimes the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And I just want to familiarize you with me and let you know what's going on, where I stand, and you know, you can do as you say. I went out to the Washington City landfill to dump some trash. I made sure my load was under 2,000 pounds. I weighed as I went in, filled out the ticket with my name, address, and phone number, and dumped it. I came out, went to pay. They said I weighed 2,121 pounds. The Board of Aldermen, they said I should contact them, supposedly passed a new law that anything under 2,000 pounds is $60. Starting at 2,001 pounds, it's $160. While weighing 2,121, supposedly, they wanted $171.30. I made sure I was under 2,000 before I went out there. and I didn't know that this was the case. I was never shown my actual weight, and it is not visible to see. I just couldn't pay that because I knew I was under 2,000, and it felt like extortion to me. Little did I know the extortion was just beginning. They said they were going to call the police if I didn't pay the $171.30, and they did. I made calls to City Hall while waiting to no avail, left 3 voicemails at different departments that I was directed to. I have never gotten a call back from any of them. I backed my half-ton Ford pickup with my trailer off to the side in a parking spot and waited for the police officer to arrive to explain my situation. When the officer arrived, I explained my situation. Then he went in and talked to the men in the scale house. When the officer came out, he told me, here's how it's going to work. You're going to pay the $171.30, or I'm going to arrest you and take you to jail for stealing of services. I told him I just could not pay the $171.30. He said, turn around, I'm putting the handcuffs on you. I said, okay, I'll pay the $171.30. He said, it's too late. You're going to jail, and proceeded to cuff me real tight. He searched my vehicle without my permission. He never read me my rights. He became trial, judge, and jury, and I was going to pay. I knew better than to resist in any way. He put me in the back seat of his car to sit for an hour with my hands cuffed behind my back on a hard plastic seat. It's pretty rough. I'd never been in a police car, let alone with hands cuffed behind my back. My hands were bleeding at the landfill, as he called a tow company, and I watched them drag my truck and trailer onto another truck and haul it away to be impounded. He finally took me to the police station. It was a rough ride with my hands cuffed behind my back, and he made sure it was rough. He was using vigilante justice to abuse me while I couldn't fight back. He threatened to put me in a cell, but there was another officer there, a lieutenant, and he just took my fingerprints on my photo and walked me to the front door and released me and told me where my truck was. I walked down to the tow company, the other end of 5th Street, and tried to get my truck back. They said I needed $527.30 in cash. So I had to walk to the bank, got the cash for the truck. They would not release my trailer because I couldn't find the registration for the trailer. 2 days later, I found the registration for the trailer and had to pay another $250 to get the trailer. Any other business entity would have had to take you to court, sue you for the cost of the service, and a judge and jury would make a determination and a judgment against you in the amount owed. But not Washington. They take the law in their own hands, and you're going to pay whatever they say, or else you're going to pay more. I never left the landfill. I did not steal anything. There was a disagreement over a bill that should have been resolved in a court of law, not vigilante justice. We have legal proceedings for a reason. I have a problem with violations of civil, personal, human, and property rights, especially against me. You can destroy me, and the streets of Washington will not be any safer. I am nobody, but greater is he that is in me, and he protects his own. They crucified my Lord and Savior, so I don't feel so bad. But this is not right, and someone needs to stand up and say something about it. I don't think this is the only case of this. And I thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
Report of Department Heads, Missouri Park and Recreation Association Citation Award for Organizations, Riverfront Park Playground Project.
Good segue.
Okay.
Good evening, council. Not yet. I wanted to welcome, we have a couple board members from MPRA here to present an award to Downtown Washington, Inc. For their Riverfront Playground project. Excuse me, over the course of 6 months, Tyler King and some board members went out, and prior to that, we had talked about a project that would benefit the community, especially downtown. And we talked about a playground, some other possible options, and we settled on a playground at Riverfront Park. That park's been around for many, many years. We've never had a playground there. The park has lots of events, weddings, family reunions, sunset on the riverfront, you name it. it happens in that park, and there's never been much for children to do in the park. And so I thought, Tyler thought, we all thought a playground would be an excellent idea. Originally, we thought might take about 2 years for the board and Tyler and all of us to fundraise, or I should say the board and Tyler to fundraise to get the pledges needed to put in this playground. And lo and behold, in 6 short months, $100,000 was raised for a playground. And it's been a great team effort amongst the city and downtown. The Parks Department did a lot of the site grading, drainage, concrete work for the playground, obviously downtown, and the board members raised the money. The city fronted the money for the playground, which will be now repaid within 2 short years, and I think the final check's coming tonight for the playground. So I know there's some donors here, some organizations. It was just amazing how well and how anxious people were wanting to see this playground put in. In 6 months, Tyler had raised $100,000 for this awesome project. And here we are. I mean, it was a year later. Last year, about this time, we were starting. The guys were doing the site grading and installation, moving irrigation and everything around. And here, by into April, we had a brand new playground open for the kids down there, and just in time for the first event of the summer, Sunset on the Riverfront. So, great project. I know some of the donors are here, so I'd like, if we could, give everyone a round of applause, because this playground doesn't happen if the donors, these civic organizations, private, individual donors, come up and donate to the community. So thank you for everyone, for all that you do for the city of Washington. So I have a couple board members. They're going to present Downtown Washington with the actual plaque and the award, or the award, I should say. Now, it's not the actual, the plaque is coming that Downtown will get. This is a plaque off my wall that looks exactly like the one that Downtown will get when it arrives. We had to do some finagling to get this pushed up in coordination with Downtown's presentation that you're doing tonight. After the awards after the plaque is presented, we'll show a video that will be shown at the state conference here at the beginning of March for all of the MPRA, which is Missouri Parks and Rec Association, membership to see at the conference. And then after the video's played, whoever's here, donors, board members, will go outside the chamber here for a short picture, a quick picture, I should say. So, Tyler, you want to come on up? Go ahead and play the video, and then after the video, we'll head outside for some pictures.
Downtown Washington Incorporated is a nonprofit focused on promoting an attractive and financially stable downtown while preserving historic resources and enriching the community. In October of 2021, Downtown Washington Incorporated and Missouri Main Street Connection partnered to determine the wants and needs in Washington's downtown district. Survey results also showed there was a demand for more shopping and entertainment options downtown, especially for family activities. The group opted to focus on expanding entertainment in the area and set out to bring a playground to Riverfront Park. This project could not be completed alone, so Downtown Washington Incorporated's Executive Director, Tyler King, Parks and Recreation Director, Wayne Dunker, and other board members petitioned local civic organizations and community leaders seeking financial partnerships. Initially, it was thought it would take 2 years to gain the pledges needed to fund the playground. However, the project was so popular within the community that more than enough pledges were obtained within the first 6 months. Downtown Washington Incorporated received $100,000 in pledges, exceeding their goal of $85,000 for the new playground. Funding contributors were Rotary Club of Washington, Washington Lions Club, Washington JVCs, the Historic Washington Foundation, Downtown Washington Incorporated, J.D. Schriever and Associates, Remax Results, Dr. Mark and Lisa Tobin, and Union Pacific Railroad. On April 27th of 2023, a ribbon-cutting event was held at the playground with many donors in attendance. The downtown Riverfront Playground contributes to a vibrant downtown community. This was an amazing opportunity to further utilize one of the most popular parks in the community and add to the existing entertainment and leisure option at Ribnick Riverfront Park. This amenity draws visitors from all over the region and is only a block away from the nearest Amtrak station. The addition is beneficial to the local economy, residents of the community, and park patrons. The playground has helped address diversity, equity, and inclusion by bringing together children and families of all walks of life to enjoy a recreational activity in the heart of downtown Washington. Congratulations, Downtown Washington Incorporated, a 2024 MPRA Organization Citation Award recipient.
Go ahead, Sherry.
2023 building report.
Good evening, council. This is our annual report for the building department, showing how many permits we had, how much money, our occupancy inspections. We had about 517 residential occupancy inspections, up from last year. The amount of, project costs and different things in here. Did you guys have any questions going through the report?
Last 2 pages are specific projects that are listed in there.
Yeah.
Good information, Charles. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Need a motion to accept in the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Briggs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
2024-2025 MoDOT traffic safety grants.
Good evening, council. As I stated in my letter in your packet, I'm requesting approval to apply for our annual MoDOT traffic safety grants. Nothing out of the ordinary this year other than we are seeking approval for a grant for high visibility raincoats for the officers. It's about where is that at? $3,100 request. We think we'll get it, but other than that, it's the normal manpower and training for traffic safety.
Okay. Questions? Discussion? Accept the motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Briggs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
6C is approved.
Jim, you will need their signatures on this.
Yes,
sign that?
Sherry has the form, yes.
We'll pass that around.
Okay.
Ordinances and resolutions. An ordinance accepting the proposal from BFA for professional services for the Bush Creek Guardrail and Channel Protection Project.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
This is the item that Charles brought before you for design services at the workshop. If there's any questions?
Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance accepting the proposal from BFA for professional services for the Bush Creek Guardrail and Channel Protection Project. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Coulter?
Aye.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7A passes.
I'm
B,
here
please.
too.
I thought I was missing somebody. I'll say the best for
I'll
last.
say yes.
Bear.
Still passes.
Still pass. There you go.
That's good.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a standard form of agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and FGM Architects, Inc., and amend the 2023-2024 budget.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
So as Chief said earlier at the workshop, this is for the design services for the fire station. We went through a rigorous process of getting a selection here and moving forward.
One piece I did not mention is the budget amendment. We originally had that as two
Correct.
ordinances. We put it as one. That is amending the reserve fund to cover the cost initially for the design.
Chief, with that, in 60 seconds or less, it's been a long time since I built a firehouse. The staggering thing that hit me, $470 per square foot, or whatever.
470, yes.
Yeah, what's in there that makes that steep?
I wish I could answer that, Mark. I don't have a good answer for that. The cost of construction has gone up, skyrocketed. And so when we built the last station, though it's a different concept and different design and a little different, I was speaking with the superintendent there and said, hey, here's what we're looking for in the next year or so. What do you think we should do? At that time, we were thinking 225. And he goes, you better start at 3 and be thinking to go from there. And that was in 2022. And so it's just the inflationary pressures that's been driving things up.
We had both of the firms that we interviewed that day gave us a range per square foot. They were both very close in the same dollar.
And some well over 500 a square foot for other facilities.
And that depends on where you're building in the country too, affects that a little bit.
Correct.
But that number that they provided is based on actual buildings such as New Melly right now in cost of construction. The average home price in Missouri right now, I think, is $224 per square foot. I saw that statistic last week.
I've seen that, and like I say, this is double, and I think of a firehouse as kind of open space. I'm sure there's a lot more there than I realize.
There's a lot of heavy, part of the cost of a fire station is you're looking at the, one, we're required under code to put an ICC 500 earthquake seismic protected area inside the building, so the occupant, whatever occupant load you have to house that many folks. That's one piece that drives up cost. Concrete. Big trucks, big heavy trucks, concrete's all at least 8 inches thick, so there's a lot of concrete that goes into these buildings. And then there's standard requirements that are there now as well from a cancer prevention program and cancer prevention side to keep basically soot and smoke out of the building, out of the living quarters versus the bays, and being able to, even our gear off gases now, so to allow our gear to basically off gas. So these fire stations actually have hot, warm, and cold zones. And so if you come to our fire stations now, there's actually signage, no bunker gear past certain points in the building, just because of bringing contaminants within the building.
No further questions? Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a standard form of agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and FGM Architects, Inc., and amend the 2023-2024 budget. Wessels?
Aye.
Heydrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, we're getting a fire station. 7B passes.
Thank you. We're
7C.
researching the last time a station was added to the city. We're not sure the last time. We've rebuilt ones, and we know those dates, but the last time one was added, we think it's pre-1940. So we're trying to figure out the history of that exactly. So when we know it, we'll let you know. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a city contractor agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and CV Contractors, Inc., and amend the 2023-2024 budget.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
This is for the renovations to the office area for out there at Public Works Building that Wayne told you about at the workshop. Any questions?
Okay. Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a city contractor agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and CV Contractors, Inc., and amend the 2023-2024 budget. Wessels?
Aye.
Heydrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7C passes. D, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into a sales contract with Clark Equipment doing business as Bobcat Company for the purchase of a Bobcat Toolcat UW56 utility work machine with attachments.
Bear.
Introduced by Bear.
Yes, this is the Toolcat, trading in the 2016, and getting a new one that we use every day. It's a highly used piece of equipment that we use every day. Does a lot of good work for us.
No discussion. Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into a sales contract with Clark Equipment doing business as Bobcat Company for the purchase of a Bobcat Toolcat UW56 utility work machine with attachments. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, 7D passes. We got a new Bobcat. E, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into a sales contract with Truck Centers, Inc. for the purchase of a 2-ton Freightliner 108 SD Plus dump truck.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
Good evening, council. This is a truck for our snowplow truck. Talked about earlier. And the plow, the spreader, and the bed will be a second ordinance.
Tony, I didn't ask in the workshop, but a Freightliner truck is, I know in the past we've done International, we've done Peterbilt, but Freightliner is, I mean, I know they're cheaper model trucks, but that's the main reason, or?
We've had really good luck with them.
Okay.
We've had less luck with the International, so we're gradually working them out of so we got one more left.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into a sales contract with Truck Centers, Inc. for the purchase of a 2-ton Freightliner 108 SD Plus dump truck. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7E passes. F, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into a sales contract with Woody's Municipal Supply Co. for the purchase of a Galleon 430U SMS truck bed, snowplow, and salt spreader.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
This also was mentioned in the workshop as Tony just said, or whatever. This is the second part of that.
Okay. Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into a sales contract with Woody's Municipal Supply Co. for the purchase of a Galleon 430U SMS truck bed, snowplow, and salt spreader. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
You bet.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, 7F passes. G, please.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 24-13896 and enacting lieu thereof, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of agreement for stray animal boarding by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and the Franklin County Humane Society.
Coulter.
Introduced by Coulter.
This is, I believe, the third attempt to try to get this ordinance right.
say,
I think, was the last revisions from from the Humane Society?
Yes.
Okay. So,
What is the revision? Didn't we do this
we did this.
last month?
I would defer.
We
to
did
Mark.
it back in December.
Yeah, December. I would defer to Mark. I don't remember what the latest revision was. I don't think it was anything serious.
I'm lost myself because I think this is the second or third time we've done this, so.
Basically, it all started with the rates. That was the main reason why we wanted to change, and that's the first paragraph that you have under Exhibit A. I think the rest is just procedure-wise. I don't think there's anything substantive.
The second time we did it,
Yeah, there was something
There was a section that was missing. This time we did it, they added more stuff to the contract.
Yeah, if I remember it right now, it's if somebody drops, a citizen drops something off at the Humane Society, they're not gonna collect that fee from that person, they're gonna collect it from the city. If I remember right, I think that was the only change.
That's correct.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, if that, explain that a little bit more, Mark, because I don't know if I'm in favor of a citizen just dropping off and we get the bill.
Well, that's
how it's read?
That's how your previous agreement was, right, wrong, or indifferent. That same language was in there.
right.
And what is the new cost?
The new cost is the city shall pay the sum of $35 per day up to a maximum of $175 for the state mandated 5-day hold, plus a $100 intake fee for each animal delivered by either the police department or a city resident. I think the fees before, from the previous ordinances, were $10 per day up to maybe 50, I think, something along those lines. And that those fees hadn't been adjusted for quite some time. I'm gonna say years.
Let me see if I can clarify a little bit what I said earlier. If there's a pet that's dropped off over there and the owner comes over to claim it, there's a fee for the time that the pet has been there. They're not gonna collect that fee for the city, they're gonna require us to collect that fee first before they'll release that pet. They're not gonna handle that money for you, you're gonna have to collect that first.
So we have to collect from the resident because their pet was there?
Somebody's gonna come back and they're gonna.
How do we do that? Do we have a collection agency for that?
Good question, I don't know.
I don't know how many times, Chief, I don't know if you want to
So
comment.
how it works currently is they will pay the police department. But we don't do it that way now. That's not how it works. They collect the fee. So I guess they no longer want to do that.
So how many times, I guess?
Well, and I will say it's dropped drastically, the number of animals that both are dropped off by citizens and that we take over with. All the animal you see on our Facebook page, we post those, the majority of those are claimed. So very, very rarely do we take animals over,
Yeah.
so.
We're not talking a lot, I guess, what I'm trying to get at.
That's fine. Not talking a lot is one thing. We don't know a number.
Well, and obviously, I'm not sure, I guess you could try to negotiate that with them. From what I understand, it's pretty standard for all other agencies that use the Humane Society. I'm not sure on that, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. They're not,
I think that's their standard
Yes.
agreement now with everybody.
and we really have no other option unless you want to start a
Pound.
pound.
But the way I'm reading this, it was that the city was paying for that. The city's now just collecting the money for that fee. The residents will pay. Is that correct? We've got two different answers here for that, as far as that goes.
That's the way I see it.
What's that?
I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry.
Citizen will pay.
The citizen will pay, we're just doing a collection for it.
Correct.
Okay, my first question was, are we paying for it? And it was yes. So that's why I was confused.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It says the society will provide and the city will accept the services of the Society for Stray Animals. The city shall pay society the sum of $35 per day to a maximum of $175. It says the city is paying.
Yeah, if you look on the next page, under subsection E, under 2E, if we're gonna charge the owner that fee, we're gonna collect that from
Okay.
the owner instead of them collecting it
Okay.
and remitting it to us.
Okay, so then they're gonna charge us, then we're gonna charge the owner.
Correct.
Okay, so how do we charge the owner? We send them a water bill at envelope that says dog fee?
I don't remember the last time, do you?
Yeah.
Because my question is gonna be
happens
is,
very
if I go over there and get my animal, and then they're charging the city, how are you gonna have any recourse to charge me?
Right.
Yeah, so my recommendation would be before the animal's released, that fee is collected. And I can work out the procedure for that, I guess, for them to notify us if the
somebody
owner is
shows up
there.
to claim.
Yeah.
Said
and
they
then
will
we could
collect it before
collect
the animal
fee.
is released.
And
Right.
If you look farther in that section, it says, "City shall provide written instructions to society on city letterhead
Okay.
as to the requirements and or proof of payment of such fees with regard to owners reclaiming the pets."
Okay.
Well, there's a reason I'm not a lawyer, and because I read the first paragraph and said,
Right.
I'm not in favor of this. So if you want to read deeper and collect back, that's, I guess, my question tonight, so.
It just seems convoluted. If you need to go get your pet, you're going to the Humane Society to find out you got to come back here to pay for your pet to go back to the Humane Society to get them. But
Exactly my point.
But that
they're
ensures
trying to
that
keep
we
their
get
money.
that.
I get it.
If you call first.
Other discussion? Okay, let's vote. Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 24-13896 and enacting lieu thereof, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of agreement for stray animal boarding by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and the Franklin County Humane Society. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
You bet.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
No.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, 7G passes. 8, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract amendment number 1 by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Cochrane.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
Yes, this is an amendment to the engineering contract with Cochrane Engineering for the Oldenburg Industrial Park improvements. This was really because of our core permit. Through review of the Army Corps of Engineers, we have 2 creek crossings, one with the, one with the road and one with the sewer. There was a number of additional correspondence between the Corps and Cochrane for the Corps requesting changes in design and additional information, which then reflected in a change in our contract. And then there was a smaller portion of that that was for a lift station increase after, the first estimate of what the lift station would be, it was larger after design, so. About $13,000.
Questions? Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract amendment number 1 by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Cochrane. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
You bet.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, 7H passes. Aye, please. Uh-oh. Do you need somebody?
Speaking of
She has
You
something
need a
in her.
break?
You want me to go ahead and read it?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
An ordinance approving the boundary adjustment for Highland Meadows, Plat 9A in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
Well, good evening, council. You've seen this before, Highland Meadows Plat 9A. We are coming back because there was a transformer that wasn't on the property when they platted their easement, and then there was, so they had to make an adjustment. So you can see, this was the one you saw in December, and that north easement right there now has a little wiggle, and that's the change.
So the street will actually do that because of that transformer?
Correct.
I was hoping I didn't see that right. I understand the need for change. It's just a matter that now we're going to have a little diversion on the street.
Well, it's a driveway, so it's not our street. It's their driveway into their easement into their development.
property.
So High Street is to the, I think that's
It's
east
facing
there.
north.
Right.
It's facing High Street, so that jog is just their driveway itself.
Okay.
It'll match the bridge.
Right. Let's not make it a habit.
Took me a second.
Me too.
Move the transformer. No.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Other discussion? Sherry, are you up to it? Okay.
Thank you. An ordinance approving the boundary adjustment for Highland Meadows Plat 9 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Yeah.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, 7I passes.
Commission, Committee, and Board Reports, Downtown Washington, Inc. Annual Report.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for having us this evening. This is the report that I give each year on statistics in the downtown area that we track to measure the economic impact that we've had over the last year for the entire community of Washington. This should be in your packet. It should look like a sheet like this. The presentation I'm giving you here is basically a slideshow of each of those statistics. So, to start out first, we had 19 new businesses that opened, with another 3 that moved into a new location within the district. This is a higher amount that we have seen in the last 2 years. The last 2 years, we've had around 12 each. Many of these businesses we were able to consult with. We had the opportunity to consult with a lot of the building owners as well, helping them connect the dots with prospective new businesses. And I expect to see continued growth in our downtown region over 2024 with some exciting projects that do lie ahead.
Tyler, those moves stayed within the downtown
They
district?
did, yes, Mark. Yeah, the 3 that moved, here, I can go back to them here real quick. The 3 that moved were Photogenics on Location, Birdie's Bake Shop, and Trashy Roots. And with the 19 new businesses that opened up in 23, we gained a net new, 53 net new employees to our district. This number is calculated by basically reaching out to the businesses and polling them, if available, to give us an estimate of how many full and part-time employees they have in the district. There was also over $3 million invested privately back into the downtown area over the past year. This number includes commercial and business improvements as well as residential improvements. These numbers are pulled from permit reports, so keep in mind the numbers that I'm giving you this evening aren't necessarily completed projects. If we were able to get a completed dollar figure at the end of the project by every single person, that would be great, but not everybody's willing to share that information, obviously. So these numbers are pulled from actual permits. Residential permit numbers this past year were $1,553,135, and commercial or business permits were pretty much on par with 2022 with $1,609,029. To give you an idea, in 22 we had roughly 5 million, so we were down quite a bit in residential for a comparison. As far as public improvements goes, there was $387,500 made by the city of Washington over the past year. That really included general concrete work, Second Street work that is ongoing, as you probably know, upgrading different utilities and infrastructure improvements and things like that. This number is down from last year. Last year's numbers was roughly $558,000. This next slide just shows a little bit about our trainings, about our volunteers and our board. We were able to attend quite a few trainings and webinars this past year, especially on historic preservation, which is a requirement for the Washington Historic Preservation Commission and one of the requirements for the city of Washington to remain a certified local government. This next slide is a list of all the training courses that we attended. We do maintain an agreement with all of our board members that they must at least attend 1 training per year to remain on our board, and that just shows their commitment to not only the organization, to our downtown district, but also to the city itself. This next slide talks about our grants that we award as an organization. The first one I want to touch on is our merchant grant. We call this our merchant event grant. We set aside $5,000 each year for our businesses to collaborate together, to come up with different promotions, to work together, and or events as well. This money is set aside and voted on by our promotions committee to help pay for advertising, cost of event, materials, things like that. Another grant that I'm really like is our sign and awning grant. We also set another $5,000 aside for this program for our businesses to tap into. This is the same thing. They apply for a new sign or a new awning, and we pay up to $500 each time on those. And then the last one, that was the most exciting one for this past year. That was our Downtown Riverfront Playground project that you saw the award for earlier this evening. I did bring a check, our last $50,000 check. So if I could give that to you guys, that'd be great. I know you like money, so right?
I'll take it for now. How about that?
Put my name on there?
Your name's on it. Maybe next year. But that was really exciting because I would say that was probably one of our biggest success stories this past year was raising $100,000 in such a short amount of time. Pretty exciting stuff. Next slide shows some of our event days. We held 27 days of events. This includes our Art Fair and Wine Fest, our Barbecue and Blues Fest, our Fall Festival, Christmas Parade, and things like that. We saw record crowds at each of our events, and I have a little showing here. This actually isn't on your sheet, but I wanted to throw this in there for a visual. To give an idea on crowds, we had close to 29,000 people over the entire weekend for our Barbecue Fest attend downtown, 26,000 for our Wine Fest, 28,000 for our Fall Festival, and if you look at the most populated day in our downtown district in 2023, as well as in 2022, was our Holiday Parade of Lights. Believe it or not, we had roughly 16,600 people show up just for that event, which is mind-blowing. It's fascinating. New this year, I wanted to bring some statistics on some of our advertising effects. First, our social media presence has grown quite a bit over the last year with 17.5% growth as far as followers go, and as well as a 23% increase on our website. I think a lot of that has to do with our TV advertising, which I have a statistic here to show you as well. Last year, we did 5 different TV commercials, 3 specific for events, because we know that's what brings people to town a lot of times. 2 were more or less a general overview of the city and specifically downtown. And during our holiday season, we promoted that as well. So we were roughly able to reach about 260,000 people over 8 different counties this past year. And that is my goal again this year, is to get that number hopefully up to over 300,000 people. But we're on pace to do the same project that we did this past year with TV advertising.
Tyler, can I ask you on those visits, those website visits, is that just the downtown site?
That is just for our
So it's
website.
not the chamber?
That is not the chamber. This
city,
is specifically for downtown Washington, Inc. Yep. Yep. Oops, sorry, I'm skipping a couple slides here. A really exciting project that we work on each year and that some of you may be familiar with is our gift certificate program that we offer. We have over 90 local businesses. It's what we consider a perk to be a part of the organization. This last year, we did over $68,000 in sales just in gift cards, so that money stays local here. This is the most, looking back, that we've ever done in one year, so I want to continue to grow this project, hopefully get over 100 businesses, and I think we'll reach that for this next year as well. My favorite statistic to report on each year, you guys probably hear me say that every single year, is our volunteer hours. So this organization that we have is solely based on volunteers. As you can see, most of them were here this evening. We did have a few leave, but we had over 9,500 volunteer hours this past year, which included, and which continues to grow, is our best downtown cleanup day to date. We had over 75 volunteers show up this past year. So these events help the City of Washington, specifically our cleanup day, helps our parks departments, our street department by saving costs on labor and maintenance. So kudos to our volunteers for that. If you were able to do the math on this, overall, you would see that this amount of hours equals to about 13 months of continuous volunteerism just within our organization. So I think the City of Washington is very lucky to have all the civic organizations that we do. And again, this is just our organization, so it'd be neat to see everything compiled together with all the other civic organizations.
Tyler, quick question.
Yes, sir.
We're a city of volunteers. It's going to be kind of a fuzzy question. I want your opinion.
Okay.
Are the same people coming back time after time after time, or are we seeing new faces?
Great question. I would say we definitely have our diehards that stick around. Our goal is to continually reach new people, and I think you see that each year. We do have new people that show up to different committees, different events. We have a volunteer reach out through our organization committee, where we hold an event each year that tries to recruit new volunteers. So I think it's a struggle with every organization, but especially trying to get younger, getting the younger generation involved. If you notice on that video that played earlier, we had a high emphasis on entertainment because we heard from a lot of young families we needed more entertainment options. So a playground was a great example. That alone, we've been able to pick up volunteers just because they saw what we were able to do with that project, that they wanted to get involved with our organization. We just had somebody come in the post office today that moved to town specifically because they saw our Art Fair and Wine Fest and they loved the volunteerism and just the atmosphere and the vibrancy of downtown. So I think you see those things on a continued basis. It's always a struggle finding new people, but they're there. They're definitely there.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Lastly, I just want to tell you guys, we truly appreciate the partnership within the City of Washington provides our organization, whether that's collaboration with economic development. I know I talk to Sal and Darren on a very consistent basis. The usage of event facilities or just the partnership in general, I can speak on behalf of our board that we do truly appreciate the support that you all give to us. We always look forward to working with you all in the future. And just want to thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and looking forward to a fantastic 2024. Thank you.
Great job, Tyler. Thank you. Would you mind introducing those fellow board members from downtown Washington that are here with you tonight?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Let's see who we got here. So Elizabeth Schatz back here. Just raise your hand if you want. We got Robbie Vosbrink, Tony Cavan, Kenny Pinnell, Brett Hoke, Rick Hopp. I'm going to pick on Chad. He volunteers quite a bit too, even though he's with the city. Karen Marquardt, our president. Nancy Walkenhorst. Sam Adams, she's our new event coordinator. Sarah volunteers on our Wine Fest committee as well. And then I have to give Wayne a shout out too. He's helped us out tremendously with a lot of different projects, as you could see earlier here tonight. And then Sal also does quite a bit with the organization too. So we did have some people leave earlier, but still a pretty good showing from our volunteers. So we appreciate it.
Thanks for everyone from downtown. Without.
Thank you.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Stone Bridge, Plat 1 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
All right. For your approval tonight is an ordinance for the final plat of Phase 1 of the Stone Bridge subdivision. This is south of town. This is the aerial here, kind of superimposed because the plat doesn't show up on our maps yet, but see where Rabbit Trail has been extended, and then the East-West Parkway has been laid as part of Phase 1. And this switch here. Okay. So this shows Phase 1 and Phase 2. This was the best map I could get. So you're not approving all of this tonight. What you, just 2 months ago, you all approved a preliminary plat for this second phase. So this is still under development. But what they're requesting tonight is approval of Plat 1, which it's kind of hard to tell, but there's a delineation line here. So you have these two cul-de-sacs and then this first portion of the East-West Parkway. There is a performance bond attached to this because the public improvements are not complete, but we do allow developers to receive a final plat if they have a performance bond included. And so our engineering department, Charles, reviews the existing infrastructure and the proposed infrastructure, and they come to an agreement on the price of that. So we do recommend approval. It matches what was submitted back with preliminary plat, and this will allow them to start getting building permits.
Questions? Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Stone Bridge, Plat 1 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
You bet.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 8B passes.
Mayor's report?
Like it says in our package, you guys, the second council meeting in January will be Tuesday.
January? February.
I'm sorry, February 22nd is our next meeting. And that's on a Tuesday due to President's Day holiday. Also, we got an email today from MML. There is a legislative conference that we are all invited to, if you all would like to go, February 20 and 21. February 20th is our council meeting.
Which
So
is the challenge. So we, unfortunately, last year as well, they also scheduled this at the same time that you had have your council meeting. So we understand. I do not anticipate going myself, but I think
I'll probably go.
Doug went last year, so.
It's in Jeff City, hour and a half away. So be thinking, if you want to go, let me know. That's all I got. Thanks for coming, everybody. It's great to see this many people here.
City Administrator's report?
The only item I need to report is we did meet with the Capital Improvement Sales Tax Committee that was formed back in 2017 at the start to go through the projects that the city was looking at and also to renew that tax at that time. We wanted to go ahead and give an update to that committee and let them know what projects we had completed to date, what projects we still had yet to complete, and it was a good discussion. We talked about, there were some ideas talking about some projects that might be able, there's a couple of projects within the fairgrounds, as some of you may know, that we had. I think it's no secret to all of you that the first time we got bids for the main stage roof, it was with a budget of what we had. And even though you had upped or increased the amount that you wanted to go ahead and participate with the tax, it was still yet to be seen how the rest of that would go ahead and be covered. So we did talk about that quite a bit. One of the ideas that was thrown out, there was a project that we had $300,000 towards, which probably still wouldn't have been enough for that complete project to be completed, was the motorsports arena lights that were down there, as well as a new restroom at that north gate that would replace the one that's there today. Anyway, there was discussion at that committee meeting about possibly wanting to see about moving that to those funds to the main stage, because that main stage roof was a higher priority for them as opposed to the project that I just listed. That's a project that they could wait at a later date and maybe look at that, maybe at the next time the city would go out for the tax. So that was the discussion, and I just wanted to bring it all to your attention that we did have a couple council members, Jeff and Al were both there at the meeting, and so like I said, it was a healthy discussion. I think we talked about the success of the rest of the projects that we had. The good news is that even though that we had more sales tax than we anticipated coming in, but unfortunately, with the inflation and everything with the projects, that's what we're kind of dealing with. So the end number that was also given to the committee that day was how much money do we anticipate having left over after the projects are completed, the ones that we have budgeted. And it was about, I think, 460, 480,000, somewhere in that ballpark. So it's around 500,000 roughly that we will have left over depending upon how the rest of the projects play out. Your biggest ticket item is what you just started tonight, which was picking a design consultant for the fire station. And that's your next biggest item. As a matter of fact, that will probably be, will probably exceed what we did for the pool, to be quite honest. And we always thought the pool was probably going to be the largest project when we started this, so.
Yeah, it was good to hear from, get the committee back together and hear from them, so it's not just the 8 of us up here deciding where that goes. That's really the voters said what they wanted. They approved that. It sunsets in 25.
26.
Well, we'll need a vote in 26, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so it sunsets in 26.
Technically, you're right.
And we talked about what are the projects that we'd want to see again, and some of the things that were coming up kind of involved those restrooms at that north gate too, that, we've had a couple fairs now in the past decade that required tornado shelter, unfortunately, and how can we incorporate some of that there? That was some good discussion, I thought, from that committee, and just gave us some direction. So at some point, we'll need to decide as a group what we're doing next and how we're doing it.
Yeah, and I think from my standpoint, it was also nice to hear from the committee to reiterate the fact that we convened in 2017, decided what projects we're going to do, have a budget for those projects, the difference in budget, but yet the similarities that we accomplished, and then also their opinions on in going out to the public, and those, that we renew this tax every 8 years, that the public, the voters of Washington, are approved of what we've done. And I think, like I said, main project was the main stage that hasn't been done. I think people are receptive to the fact that inflation has raised exponentially the amount of construction costs for that. So it's just, but again, the committee's consensus was that day that it's still one of those projects that we need to do. The cost of building it is not going to go down. It's just exponentially higher than what we expected it to be. So again, I spoke up at the meeting quite often because we get put on the spot up here to approve things, but I thought it was very advantageous for that committee to reiterate what we've done and their approval for that. So, again, to Al's point, you know, it's not just a bathroom structure, but possibly a bathroom with an expo, with a place for, you know, emergency, how you want to say, emergency shelter for the fairgrounds. So, you know, so elaborate on that a little bit more and maybe make that a project for the next capital improvement sales tax. And again, that committee and the voters' approval to go along with that is really the mainstay. So again, I appreciate everyone on that committee. I know it was years ago, but it was also good to hear from that day. So Darren, thanks for bringing them together. The firehouse is a good example, and I brought it up at the fire meeting last week. We budgeted $2.1 million back in 17, and now we're looking at over $5 million. So there's a big difference there. But to Darren's number, the 440 to 460 number that's left over, that's after we budget $4 million for the firehouse.
Correct.
And then Tim's numbers from the rural district and their reserves to pay for the remaining. So that we're not, the firehouse is not over, is included in the budget besides the 440. I just want to make sure that that's clear. We're not looking at that number to make the firehouse happen.
Correct.
We're going to get what we need in a firehouse and then have those funds available. So, thank you.
That's all I
Council
have.
comments?
That was my council comment. Thank you.
I'd like to mention to downtown folks, two things that you said tonight that I think was just fantastic. 20 years ago, I know for a fact the Chamber of Commerce was trying to put together a website. When you went to the website, it said unfinished, unfinished, unfinished. You could click all you wanted. You weren't going to get much. And finally getting it going, how difficult it was to start getting those visits. So to read these numbers that you're coming up with, that's fantastic. The other thing is, at that same time, 20 years ago, when we started collecting data, what we were hearing from people all the time was, why should we take the train down there? What do I do with my kids? You know, there's nothing to do. So that playground down there it's wonderful. So congratulations to you guys for your past year's work.
You done?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Has everybody had a chance to look at the tent ordinance that's been proposed? Anyone?
I've read it, but I didn't know it was a proposed ordinance.
Well,
I just read it as information.
just a rough,
Okay.
it's a rough sketch of what they're looking at. This is what the best thing to come, right, Darren? This is the best thing you guys could come up with.
Well, this is what Mark provided us or whatever. Unfortunately, I think I shared my reservations in the email when I sent it out to you, that I don't know that it's going to give you any more enforcement of correcting a problem, so to speak, than what you're already doing. Because due to the fact of every time you go ahead and if you issue a citation, whether it be for, litter on a private piece of property or somebody putting a tent up, et cetera, it's still, they go to the owners. Now, granted, we know the trouble spots, the police department knows that, but that's the first contact is usually the owner to let them know. And so really what you'd be citing is the owner to say, hey, you got a tent up longer than 7 days, and they're going to be like, what tent? Unless it's something. So I don't know that that was our hesitation with regards to it. I talked with Mark about it. I don't know that it's going to be helpful enforcement to try to help the problem is all. That's what I just want to make sure.
So Chief, the property that's in the LLC that we can't
We're still
pinpoint.
working on it.
This ordinance would not, we couldn't just go take that tent and get it gone without,
I don't think this ordinance would allow you to go ahead on their property and take it. It tells them that you're being cited as a violation for having a tent on there for longer than 7 days. So you'd just be reaching out to that landowner and eventually possibly going to municipal court if they didn't correct the problem.
There you go.
Correct. You wouldn't be able to just go in and seize that property, seize the tent,
Yes.
You only would be notifying the property owner.
that you're in violation, here's your ticket.
And all that is a step up from what we do now, Chief, in the fact that you're contacting those property owners that would trespass those people from that property.
That's exactly, yes.
That's where we're at now.
so what if we start seeing like we see in other cities where tents are lined up down our city sidewalks. What do we do then? I mean, what can we do?
I think you could go, you could.
Well, there's a difference between public and
Right.
private property.
That's what I was-
We're talking about two different things here.
I know, so I'm just,
This
I'm
ordinance
kind
that
of
was
going
drafted
towards
was
there
for
now. 'cause
private property.
There's a lot of problems we're having in other cities, that, not us, but they're having problems in other cities where the homeless are now lining up tent shelters everywhere, and so how do we get that moved on? So if it's on, because you can be on property.
We
right? I mean,
go, I mean, I guess let's, from a practical sense, if we have somebody's camped out continuously or whatever, I don't know what the time frame, but if they do, the police department goes ahead and notifies them that you cannot go ahead and camp here. You can't stay here. So we go ahead and move. So I don't know that
There's already a
the
city
public property is not so much, I
For
don't know, as a problem.
camping in the parks, you can't do that. So that's public property. I'm
Right.
trying to think what other public property there would be.
Riverfront.
That's a park.
Well, that's
Yeah, yeah. The only thing, you do have, I think we've had situations where we've had encampments either under bridges. Camp Street was one I know that we had at one time. I know that you got the Highway 47 Missouri River Bridge, but most of that takes place, I think, on the north side, because it's just more advantageous for them there, because everybody walks down the Riverfront Trail for the most part. So I don't know that that's, on the public domain, I don't know that we have that many problems with regards to it. Not like the bigger cities that you're referring to.
So what you're telling me is basically, this does no more than what we have now.
Not much, because what you're doing is you're going to the property owner and you're saying, hey, you gotta remove
Puts
a
the
tent.
onus on the
And that's what we
property
do
owner
now.
to
Right.
fix it, yes.
And we mostly have, I think, property owners where that's historically happened, have allowed the police department to go ahead and make sure that
It
they
would
know that.
fix that issue if you had a property owner that
Right.
just didn't care whether someone was.
Yeah, if they didn't care, they didn't want to
Right.
press charges, that's where you run into a little bit of the problems.
So again, if they're trashing that area as well, nothing we can do about it.
We could cite the property owner.
You can cite the
That's it.
property
But there
owner.
again, we gotta
Violation.
find that property owner.
Do what?
But there again, then we have to find the property owner.
Yes.
I think there's only been one situation though where we haven't been able to find the property owner. I think that's for that one out there at
Yeah, we're
Heritage
still
Hills.
working on it.
Yeah,
That's the
And
one.
Mark's actually
Yeah.
helping with that.
or at least it's just a absentee landowner, they're out of state, those are the hardest to go ahead and deal with. I would imagine if we had a lot of trash and stuff like that, we could cite them for the property maintenance code and then eventually bring them back into court, in municipal court, but I don't know that that usually is a long, tedious process. Just so you know, I mean, you all know that from past experience
There
with
is a
other
bunch of
problem
trash on that
properties.
piece of property.
So, I don't know if we've done that yet, that's something that we could do for that specific property, but I'd have to talk to our building official and ask her.
In a related item, Darren, if someone is camping or at least living on city property and it becomes a nuisance and our city workers see it or have a problem with it, this happened last week when I was available, then we contact the Parks Department, we contact Darren.
Typically, if it is on Parks property, yes, I mean, but we will go, I mean, I think the police department will probably be the first one to go to
Yes.
anyway, because they're gonna be the ones that'll,
So I guess my question lies in the fact that the police department is questioning, they need to contact you to make sure that we're going to press charges for them on city property before the police.
they don't have to
Take care
wait
of
for
a
me to say
situation.
that. They go ahead and take care of the
Yeah,
situation
we
and
know
move
it's
them
a
along.
blanket.
Yeah, they don't,
So if it's something on the city, you know that the city's going to
Yeah.
trespass them from the property.
there's no administrative hangup, I will tell you that. They know to go ahead and move forward.
I was suggesting us as a council to give direction to trespass, but that's not a necessary.
We already got it.
Okay, thank
We're
you.
moving forward.
All right, I just want to stop it before it gets more. I mean, we're already seeing it. Nobody likes to see it. Nobody should have to be seeing it, so.
I understand frustration because, like I said, and if there was an easy answer, there'd be a ton of cities lined up to tell you, okay, this is successful. I mean, I will say that when I was at the city managers conference, that was a majority of the workshops that was there was talking about, and this was across the country, is how do you go ahead and deal with that? And you got various different cities with various
populations or whatever that are talking about the problem, and it's not a single one solution, here's the magic bullet to take care of it. It's a lot. So, and we have frustration, I know, with one of our retail developers. He sends me texts quite a bit with pictures of it. What are you gonna do about this? What are you gonna do about that? You know, et cetera. And so as long as we can go ahead and mark them for trespassing, we can. The stuff that they leave behind, like I said, unfortunately, they gotta clean that up. That's their property.
Back to the city administrator's report. Can we have an executive session tonight?
We certainly can.
I'd like one too.
City Attorney's Report, public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Wessels?
Aye.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
By your vote,